Today's episode is going to be magical. My guest today is Chloe Louise Crawford. From her early days in Portsmouth, England, discovering a love for dance at the age of 4, to captivating audiences worldwide and making her mark in Las Vegas, Chloe is a prime example of what it means to be on a relentless pursuit of excellence and innovation. As one of the few women to shine in the male dominated industry of magic, Chloe has not only starred in award winning shows, but has also been recognized on platforms like Britain's Got Talent, setting the stage for future female magicians. Beyond her spectacular performances, Chloe was diagnosed with ADHD, anxiety, and depression a couple of years ago. And today we're going to talk about how she has learned to leverage her personal and professional struggles to help women in the male dominated industries, as well as bring awareness to the hidden parts of the entertainment industry. Chloe, it is an absolute pleasure to have you. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and that we can finally meet, not just message on Instagram and things like that. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, well, I'm more than happy to have you. So, Chloe, let's dig in. How has your journey been being a female magician in a male-dominated industry? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's had its ups and downs, that's for sure. It's even now there aren't as many women in magic as men, even in 2024. So there has been struggles along the way, especially when I first started. When I first started getting into magic, I was dancing at the time. I danced my entire life and then found magic when I moved to Vegas and literally moved here and saw these men doing magic and doing shows on the strip. And I was like, why are no women doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, when I was younger, like I watched magic as a kid, but I never saw any women doing it. So I didn't really think it was possible. So then I moved here, moved to Vegas, and I was like, I'm going to give this thing a go. And pretty much just fell into it and then fell in love with it. And in the beginning, it was kind of tough because you're trying to learn as much as you can and you're trying to then put yourself into the magic, right? Have your own opinion on it or have your own stories to tell. So that was a little different because I think I was coming at it from a different angle than a lot of men. Like I didn't get given a magic kit as a child and my uncle didn't pull quarters or pennies or anything out of my ears when I was a kid. So I had a theater background, but not a magic background, which in the beginning I saw as a weakness. And then as I progressed, I realized, oh, that's actually a strength to be coming at it just from a different viewpoint. And the kind of down part, I guess, was when I gave up dancing completely. And I loved it. It was all I wanted to do my whole life. But I felt like I had to let it go in order to push magic for a while and be taken seriously in the industry. And it was really hard because I loved it so much. But sometimes you just have to, there's a time that you have to just, take the hit sometimes. And it really pushed me hard because I felt like when I was still dancing, it was kind of, even though I could do all these things, which I thought was a strength, oh, you can do all these, things, it ended up being seen as, well, we're going to pay her less because she's a dancer, or we're not going to give her as good jobs because she does that. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me, but okay, I'm going to just push magic full time for a moment. And I was really fortunate. I got asked to do Britain's Got Talent in 2000 and it was 15, so a while ago now, which was a great experience. One, I don't think I was quite ready for, but at that time I was like, you know what? They asked me to do the show. I'm coming. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Worst case scenario, I'll come back to Vegas and just pretend it never happened. But it really, really helped my career. I mean, I was like trying to talk myself into it, be like, oh, how, what's the worst that could happen? But it went great. Came back to Vegas and was like, I want to like really push this, and was really lucky to tour with a show called The Supernaturalists, which did a US tour. I worked with Chris Angel at the Luxor. Ended up on Broadway. So it started my career in magic. And then the past couple of years I've gone, okay, how can I combine all the things I do? I don't want to give up anything that I love. And especially as you get older and you start getting aches and pains and you're like, if you're going to do it, now's the time. Like, why wait? So it's been a little difficult along the way, but I think the journey happened the way it needed to happen. I 100% believe that things play out how they should, and you always end up where you should be no matter what. And yeah, now it's more about how can I incorporate magic and dance and speaking, which I'd never done before. As a dancer, you speak with your body, you don't use your words. And with the magic I did, it was all to music because I had great musicality from a theater background. And now it's like, okay, how do I combine everything and share my experiences, you know, whether it's in entertainment or in life, to share, just to be different, to share something that people hadn't seen before. And I guess just, you know, we see a lot of speakers. I watch a lot of like motivational speakers and things like that online. And I was like, okay, what would Chloe look like doing that? Because I don't want to give up magic and that, but I still, you know, I want to share my story and the things I've been through in my personal life. And magic is the vehicle. It's another way of getting us there. So that's been like my thing for the last few months, being like, what else can I do? We're not doing enough. Let's do some more things. But I love performing. I love being on stage. That will never change. It's just sometimes the platform changes, whether it's live, on big stages, up close, via Zoom, you know, doing Zoom shows during the pandemic. That was another thing. So yeah, it's really been a roller coaster, but I finally got into the place of, I love what I do. I reach out to people that I trust for their opinions on what I do, but in the end, it's my decision and I need to love it. And if I don't, you know, there's no point just listening to other people and going with what they say, right? You need to feel it in your heart with whatever you do. So yeah, it's been a journey. Let's just say that. But now I feel like it's good. I'm in a good place and I'm excited to see where it now takes me from here.
Yeah. And what I really love about your story is that you're always able to incorporate what it is that you love into the new situation or new circumstance, you know, getting on stages where it may be uncomfortable, things you haven't done before. And it's almost sounds like you tend to like setting a new precedent for, you know, what things could mean and what, you know, what magic could be, and bringing your own spin and your own different take on things.
Yeah, I think, and maybe not just in magic, I think in any area, I love seeing that. I love seeing someone doing something a little differently and stepping out of the norm or out of their comfort zone. And it's how any art grows, right? Whether it's music, magic, like actual art, like anything like that, it needs to evolve. And, you know, in it doesn't even matter the field. When someone does something new and different for the first time, everyone will be like, oh, that's crazy. Like, that's what, you know, that's never going to work. And then when it does, everyone jumps on board. So sometimes you have to be that crazy person every now and again to be like, I'm going to try this weird thing and let's see how people take to it and how people react. But that's how new ideas are born, right? You never know.
Yeah, that's true. And I love how you have such a positive mindset on, like, you know, get outside of that comfort zone and just do it because it feels right to you, you know? Can you provide some advice on how people can actually learn to really trust themselves in the things that they want to do without listening to the naysayers or listening to people who are always telling them that, you know, it can't be done or you shouldn't do it because they're projecting their limiting beliefs onto you?
I have to say, it's not easy. And it has been a thing that it's taken me a while to get there. And I still have days where I go, oh, you know, you see a comment online or someone says something to you, and it's definitely taken a while to get to that place. But in the end, it's the bigger picture, right? It's about doing what you love, doing what makes you happy. And honestly, in the last, this has been a very transformational couple of years. And in those couple of years, I've had to really take a look at the people that are the closest to me and figure out if they really have my best interests at heart. Because I'm such a giving person. If you know, whatever anyone needs help with, would, you know, call me any time of day. But I wasn't necessarily surrounded by people like that. And I wasn't the best at setting boundaries at all because I didn't understand why. I was like, why should I have to set a boundary? If I'm a good person, if you're a good person, and I realized that's not healthy. Like, even if you are two good people that have good intentions, you still have your own different boundaries of what's acceptable and what's okay with both of you. So that I've had to learn over the past couple of years, and it's made it just my life so much better. And I've had to cut a few people out, or not in a harsh way, but just take a step back and be like, you know what, this isn't healthy, this isn't feeding me in the right way. And that's okay. Like, you don't need to be, I don't need to be best friends with everyone. I don't need to be like family with everyone, but I have my tight group of people that I trust who, you know, will tell me how it is. They'll give me tough love when they need it, and they'll sugarcoat things when I need that too, because sometimes you need a little like, hey, you know, you need that sometimes. But it's so important who you surround yourself with, because it can be so just, if it's negative energy, like it just can bleed into every area of your life. And that's just not a way I wanted to live anymore. I wanted to be around happy people, and sure, we will have bad days. I'll have a bad day. But I don't project that onto other people. It's always, you know, how's your day? Well, there's this and this, but how's your day? And it's all like about, okay, how do we feel better? How can we, you know, not mask it and not like stuff it away, but not wallow, not drag it around with us all day, you know, like how can we, what's the solution to whatever the thing is that day?
So good. Yeah. And that awareness is so important. Like in the people that I coach, it's really about like, what are you feeling? And like, don't resist it. When you resist it, it persists and it's going to keep manifesting in different ways. And it's like, how can we like acknowledge it and release it, right? So that it's not affecting our day to day. It's not affecting our relationships. It's not affecting our work. But the ability to really be able to at first acknowledge what's there, so that because we can't fix or change what we don't recognize, right? So I think that that's yeah. And of course, I mean, we don't want to be projecting, but it's also nice when you have people who just get you and know you're having a bad day, right? And they're there to like uplift you and help you through things. And it's nice when you're in friendships and relationships where you have like two givers, and you're helping each other and you're elevating one another. It's definitely a different type of energy that and a different, and a different vibration when friendships that really help uplift you and make you more of who you are, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important things. I think I'm I'm in Vegas. My whole family is in the UK. So my friends are like my family, like that tight group are like my brothers and sisters. And yeah, it literally is that energy of uplifting. And we do this great thing actually that a very close friend of mine introduced to me. Same, it's been like these past 2 years, which is we voice note a lot because I feel like it expresses how you feel a little better than in text. And she'll always message or voice note back saying, what do you need right now? Like, do you need support? Do you need advice? Do you need me to just like be mad with you? Like, when something happens and you're just angry about it and you're like, I just need to be angry for a minute. And you don't need someone being like, what, it's not that bad. Oh, you'll be okay. And you're like, just be angry with me for 5 minutes and then I can let it go. Whatever it is, or someone cut you off on the freeway or something silly happens that you're just for some reason that day fired up about. So she has taught me that, and now I do it with all my friends. I'm like, what do you need? Because sometimes you don't want advice. Sometimes you are just not in a place to accept a fix, or the fix, but you just have to process the feeling first. So that has been really helpful for me, especially like in the past I've been the worst at just stuffing down feelings, or and then you blow, right? You stuff everything down, and then one little thing, like the needle on top of the haystack, just makes you explode, right? So trying to be better with that, trying to be better with processing and like taking that time to process, because it's difficult when you're busy and you're running around and you're doing all these things for other people and going to work and having to put on a happy face all the time. I found it very important to just go and sit for a minute. Like, I'm not really a meditator, but I am a get on the treadmill and like walk and just like zone out and think and like process. But I'm not really a sit still person. I get very like antsy. I'm like, oh, I could be doing that and I could be doing this. So if my body's doing a little something, or I go for a walk, then at least my mind can it has one tiny thing to focus on, so it can then think about all the rest. I don't know. It works for me. I had to find my version of meditation, but it works. So why not?
I love that. I love that. And going back to what you were saying, your friend telling you, like, what is it that you need right now? Actually, that's pretty profound, because people do try to, like, do things or like out of good intentions, right? Trying to make us feel better or whatever it may be. And it's like, actually, let's just ask that person, what is it that you need? And maybe even going one step further, like if I'm ever like having a bad time or I'm feeling triggered or I'm not settled in my emotions, I stop and I say like, what do I need to give myself right now?
Yeah.
Like what's happening, what's going on, what needs attention inside of me, you know? So I really like that your friend did that, and I think all good friends should do that, so that's that's great. In terms of the meditation, yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I mean, I have such like it's the monkey mind, right? Like it's so hard to settle it. But I recently had someone on my podcast, and he said like those thoughts are not supposed to stop. Like that's normal, right? You're supposed to just observe them. You're not supposed to like stop them because they're not going to stop. So I've been trying to do a little bit of meditation, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. But I do know that there would be benefits if I just kept trying and seeing how things go as I try to keep doing it. But yeah, I
Oh, yeah, 100%. When I hear like other people go, oh, I meditate for like half an hour a day, I'm like, how do you just sit there? Like, I know it's not just sitting there and you're being present, but I think with having ADHD, it is like my brain is going like from the moment I wake up to the moment I fall asleep. So it's even harder to just shut it down, or not even shut it down, just like I think when you have nothing to really do and you're just there with your thoughts, it's like, well, what do I do with all of them? They're just there, and it's there's not not a lot you can do to calm it, and be peaceful, but you find your little ways. But it's not the easiest, and there isn't that much information either. More and more so, but as time goes by, but there isn't as much about women with ADHD out there and how to like conquer certain things. So that's been a real not struggle, but roller coaster, let's say, since I found out just how to manage it and how to be your best self without just pretending and being like everything is great, everything is fine. It's like, oh, that's gonna end badly one day. That's not gonna go well. So it's it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we'll
oh,
see.
absolutely. And I'm curious, Chloe, like how has the ADHD manifested in like the work and the stage work that you do? How has that been a challenge for you? And what have you done to sort of overcome it?
It's interesting because I obviously didn't find out till a couple of years ago. So I think I was 33, maybe 34. And I never really had an issue throughout my life. I think because I was performing. So you rehearse, it was something I loved that I could do all the time. You can progress. So there wasn't really, the fact that I have, I not struggle with, but I hyper focus a lot. So if it's on something that you love and it's something that's good for you, then it's great because your mind won't let you give it up. So
Superpower.
when I was performing, it was great. You rehearse, you go on stage, and it was a process. And even with my adult life, when I was working and performing, same thing. You rehearse, you go on stage, that you have that structure. And back then, when I was doing like 10 shows a week, I had my weekend. So if I was experiencing any kind of burnout, there's my weekend. So I just figured, okay, I'm just tired because I've, been working, doing all these things, and there's my time off. And I think more recently, it's been more difficult with the lack of schedule and the lack of structure. So that's been difficult to manage. And I think once you find out, like once I got my diagnosis, it was great. I was like, oh, okay, I understand why I'm struggling with certain things, like even things like sensory overload or like major like rejection sensitivity is another one. Anxiety kind of gets thrown in there as well. Like everything is heightened. So you feel things so much, well, at least for me, I feel things so much more than a neuro typical person. So, which is great. If you're happy and things are great and you're excited, it's the most amazing feeling in the world. But if you're having a bad day isn't just a bad day. It's like end of the world day. So that has been a bit of a struggle to figure out, okay, how do we have just medium days, or how do we handle the bad days? Because good days are good days. Like, I'm not going to touch, I don't want to touch those. But the bad ones are tough. So just being kind to myself, things I've implemented around the house to make life easier. I'm all about making life easier. Life should not be that hard, whether it's, like at night, I set my clothes out ready for the morning, like my gym clothes, because I want to get up. I want to get my body moving straight away. Because if I don't, it's couch day and I'm not going to want to do anything. So I know I've got to get moving straight away. So just, okay, clothes are out ready, sneakers, no excuse, everything's ready, and I'm not a morning person as it is. So any little helps. Coffee machine is ready to go. Dog food's out ready to go. So yeah, it really was about, one, making life easier, and two, realizing that I didn't just need to suffer. Like, I bought these like earplug things because I'm a really light sleeper, and then once I'm awake, and things like that. Or, if I'm out at shows or whatever, and it's just too much, it's, whether it's too loud, too whatever, there's ways to like work with that and not just have to stay home all the time and avoid these situations. So there's a lot of different ways. I've now realized it's, that it's in me, that I didn't realize before. I thought that was just how everyone felt. I thought everyone was just going through life this way. And yeah, so, and every few months you discover something else and you go, wait, this isn't everyone feeling this way. Oh, there's a way to manage this. Amazing. So I'm still learning more and more about myself, and that will be an ongoing journey. But yeah, now it makes so much more sense even within relationships of why certain things didn't work. And I don't fully blame my ADHD or fully blame myself. They don't work out because of a lot of reasons. But not knowing, and now being on the other side and being like, oh, that's why this thing would like really bug me about this person that they did, or and they'd be like, why, this is not a big deal, why is this such a big deal to you? I'm like, because it doesn't feel to me like it would to a typical person. So it's fun. There's a lot of great things about it, but there's also the parts of you that just that struggle. But in the end, it's using it to your best advantage, I guess. And if I love something and want to hyper focus on it, and if it's going to run out in a few weeks, because sometimes you do, you get a new hobby or something you like, and I go, that's okay. I switch up my gym routine. I switch up my classes. I switch up like my hobbies. That's okay. I think it was always put on me as a bad thing. Like, oh, you start something and then you don't follow through. And it's like, well, if it's just a hobby, or if, I want to do Pilates and now I want to do HIIT classes or whatever, that's okay. Like, it doesn't affect anyone else. So yeah, just learning it's all that part of learning to love yourself, right? And being like, this is part of me, and that's okay. Like, and if someone else is not okay with that, then, maybe we're not meant to be in each other's lives, and that is also okay.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's especially difficult when you haven't had the diagnosis and you don't know that you have ADHD, because it's like you're doing things and people are annoyed, like you could be like running late, you can never get on time, you're misplacing your things, you're hyper focused on something and you're like not calling people, and people think like, oh, you're ignoring me, but it's like, oh no, but someone with ADHD, like if they're hyper focused on something, they're not thinking about anything else or anyone else, right? Like out of sight, out of mind.
Oh,
And
100%. Yeah.
right. Yeah, but like it's nice that you can just embrace like, okay, you know what, I have this and I can use it to my advantage, but I also need to be aware of the things that I need to pay closer attention to. And I think that people with ADHD tend to have more like sensory overload. So like you mentioned that putting in the earplugs or loud noises and things like that, and I think that it's because we feel things so much more intensely that the noises and sensory stimuli around us does tend to affect people with ADHD more than neurotypical individuals.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, even like now that I'm living alone and I'm single, I've literally gone through every room in my house and changed it to be more accessible and more just ADHD friendly. I have lazy Susans in like every cupboard, because if it's at the back of the cupboard, it's gone. It's gone to Narnia. It's gone. That's never coming back. And I would keep buying things, and I'm like, I've got like 7 bottles of body wash in a cupboard, but I just don't know it's gone. It's gone into the cupboard of, no return. So just finding little things to like help with silly things like that. Just to make life easier. And it's, honestly, it would probably help, a neurotypical person as well, because that's not just an ADHD thing. Everyone loves, I love organization. I love, everything having its place. And I think I didn't know that before. Before the ADHD, I thought I just liked everything having a place, and that's where this thing goes. And that I was like, oh no, I've been doing that a little bit throughout my younger life to manage the ADHD, just not knowing it, just thinking, oh, because I don't want to lose things all the time. Like, that's not fun. The amount of times I leave my phone in the fridge, I'm like, why? That's not really my worst habit. So now I'm like, everything has to have pockets. I gotta have pocket on my hoodie, on my pants. Everything's gotta have a pocket. Otherwise, my phone's gonna get lost in the fridge every day. But it's one of my fun things. But what are you gonna do?
That's too funny. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So like tell me, Chloe, now, like now you've now known about your diagnosis for a couple of years and everything. What are you passionate about these days?
What am I passionate about these days? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I love my dogs, which I have to bring them up because they're on my Instagram more than I am. It's always like, pictures of my dogs, pictures of my dogs. And they're just, I love them to bits, and they definitely have helped me over the couple of years. Just, they just make you slow down. They make you, they want to cuddle. They love you so much. They want to get outside. So you have to get outside. So it's actually, indirectly helped me. They're all rescues as well. They've all been through their own previous lives. And yeah, they've been through a lot. So now they're helping me, which is amazing. We've both rescued each other. So that's like my primary thing. Everything's about the dogs. Oh, how can I get a bigger house so I can have more dogs? But alongside from the puppies, I really have been trying to focus on speaking out more about things that I've experienced and things in my personal life. And it's been really difficult to find that balance of like wanting to do it to educate people and to help people, and for people to be like, oh, I've experienced that too. I'm not out there alone in this, and it's different. It's just difficult learning how to do that in the right way, and in a respectful way, and in a careful way, I guess, because I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to say anything. I'm very like, oh, is this the right way to say this? I try to be very, PC all the time. And, it's difficult, but I feel like if I don't, I feel like all the things I've been through in the like 35 years now, I can remember for a second, like how old am I? I don't think all these things have happened for no reason. I don't think you experience things for no reason. I think you are kind of sometimes thrown things unexpectedly that strengthen you as a person. In the moment, you might just feel like really more things I've got to deal with. But I think you're only thrown what you can handle, really, which is a tough pill to swallow in some situations. But if I can use the past 35 years in my work, and it can help one person, 101 people, whatever, then I feel like it's kind of helping me find my purpose a little bit, because I've always just done things for me. When you're younger, you just do things for you, right? You do things that pay your bills, and it doesn't necessarily have like, you don't think, oh, this is having an impact on another person. At least with me, with performing, I was like, okay, it makes people happy. They go to the theater, they come watch magic. Yeah, they get to forget about their problems for a night, but it's not like necessarily a strong intention that you have when you're younger. And I think now that I've gotten to this age, and especially post pandemic, it made me go, what do I really want to do? Like, what are you leaving behind? What are you doing for like the younger version of me? And I'd never thought about life in that way ever. So it's been a real like eye-opening time, I guess, to figure that out and figure out how I want to do that. And that's how, I'm starting or have started a podcast and a YouTube channel, which is going to put all that out there. That's without the magic. That's just speaking and interacting with people and bringing on guests to share our stories and see where that goes. And yeah, I love it, but it is scary because you never know what someone's going to react to and what they're going to say back, right? And I know you can't live that way. You can't live not saying anything because you don't know what someone's reaction is going to be. But it is still, that little voice at the back of your head or the little devil on the shoulder who's like, oh, you shouldn't do that because of this, or what if this person says this horrible thing? And in the end, you kind of have to just go, you know what? People are going to say what they want to say no matter what. People are always going to say bad stuff. Like I hate to sound pessimistic, but I am one of those like worst case scenario type people. So I think that's a bit of a controlling thing. But if okay, so what? So what if someone says a negative comment or posts something that's not very nice to you? Okay, it's not, in the end, I don't think that's not about me. That's about them and whatever they're going through and their struggle. And that's how it's showing itself, and that's how they feel control or feel power or whatever the situation is. And that's not my problem really, or my issue to bear. I just have to worry about myself and helping the people that want to be helped. Like if you want to be helped, I'll help anyone. It doesn't matter if I know you or don't know you. But if you're not in a place to do that, then you can't force someone to want to be helped or want to change or want to be better. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what comes of everything that I'm trying to put out there.
Yeah, very cool. And like as someone who I started out my podcast not even a year now, and like I get how it can be, nerve-wracking to get on a call or do an interview and you really don't know. Like it's hard to, like, you can prepare your intro, your questions, you can prepare all you want, but you're never going to know what the other person's going to say or where the conversation is going to go. And it's interesting actually, because like your entire career has always been about preparation, right? Like you're rehearsing, it's about predictability, making sure that it goes out, goes without a hitch, and it goes perfect, and all the scenes are rehearsed and everything like that. So the podcast space and the YouTube space is definitely a little bit more free flowing.
Yeah, it's been a little difficult. I mean, it's like improvisation, I guess. I'm trying to like connect it with some kind of theater thing. Like I can be like, oh, we've done a little bit of this. That's kind of what it's like. But yeah, I remember my first one that I filmed and recorded and everything was so prepared. And it was like questions and like paragraphs of thing. And then I'm trying to read and I'm trying to like take in what the person's saying. And I was like, this is so much, even for my ADHD brain that like can take a lot of information. It was too much. I was like, this needs to be so much more relaxed and so much more conversational, and just, just let it flow, let it be, like, see what comes out. And it's that relinquishing control, right? It's you want to control what's said and what's done. And so it looks the best and you get the best quotes and but in the end, some of the best parts will come when it's just free and more just open and relaxed, and you just let it go. But I mean, that goes into every area of your life, I think, and not just in podcasts and YouTube. But I mean, that's tough to just, let it be.
Yeah, it's true. And it's because, we want it to be so perfect that we have it so rehearsed. But what I've realized is like people don't want perfection because people don't relate to perfection, right? Yeah. People want authenticity because they're looking for connection.
Yeah.
That's like, to just let go of those high standards and just say, hey, I just trust myself to be me. And if I make a mistake, that's great. That's fine. Right. Like that's part of being human, is we make mistakes. And I think people will relate more to our mistakes because it makes them feel good too. Right. Like I'm not the only one in this. And like she's up there and she's making her mistakes and she's fumbling on her words and she didn't ask the right question, whatever it may be. Like it goes back to what you said at the beginning, which is like, self-love and self-acceptance.
Yeah. Like no one's perfect. No one should want to be perfect. Like I'd rather be authentic and just be me. And me comes with, you know, my mind wandering every now and again and drifting onto other subjects and like jumping from one thing to the other. But that's part of me. And I'm not for everyone. Not everyone's going to love what I put out, but that's okay, because I'd rather be putting out something that is real and is really me. Because even talking about shooting podcasts and YouTube and stuff, I was just trying to record my intro for to have on YouTube. And I like wrote this whole script and I recorded it and I was like, okay, and I got it perfect. And I watched it back and I was like, I don't know who that person is, because that's not me. And it was really weird to like just be in that moment and experience that and be like, what, who's she? Because that is not who's with me every day. That's not who is, you know, here right now with you, or who's there with my friends, or on the end of the phone when someone's having a bad day. Like, she's not relatable at all. Like, it's everything's trying to be too polished and trying to be too perfect. And it's not relatable, and it didn't even connect with me, and it's me. So I was like, what is this? So I ended up going, you know what? Screw the script. You know the things you want to say. You know the main points you want to make, right? Because I'm always going to want some kind of a little bit of structure, a little bit of support, just so I don't like freak out. But it's so much better to have a stutter, to have a little stammer, to have a slightly wrong word used. Like, who cares? Like, that's real. That's real life. That's real human being behavior. That's what we do. So it's been a learning curve, very quick one, that I've been like, oh, okay, that's because everyone says it to you. They just go, just shoot content, put it out, just post something, did it, and you're like, oh, but I want it to do this, and I want to be this, and in the end, it's the same thing. Like, let go, stop trying to control everything, and it will work out so much better in the end.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. And it's really just letting go of our own expectations of how perfect it needs to be. It's like, it doesn't need to be perfect. We're not perfect. And like what I've learned and I'm still implementing is like, don't do it word for word, right? Because it's true. I look back at my videos and I'm like, oh my God, I almost like, I don't even trust who that is. Like, who is that person? You know, like it so doesn't resonate. But like what I'm learning to do now is like, just do like bullet points. Like I need some structure. So like, just, you know, bullet points of what I want to cover, but then cover them in my own authentic voice and not like reading something on a teleprompter, right? Which is, and it's okay. We all start somewhere, right? Like we have to start somewhere. And if it's a teleprompter, that's fine. But it's like just evolving and getting used to like trusting yourself more, because you know what you're going to say, right? You know what you want to say. So
Yeah.
so that's nice. And it is like improv too. Like
Yeah.
like whatever comes to mind. And if your mind goes to a few different places, that's great, because people who are going to want to listen to you are going to like that about you,
Yeah.
right? They're going to like the fact that you're jumping from one thing to another. Like they're going to like the way you think.
It keeps things interesting. It's like, jump on the roller coaster. Let's see where it goes. We don't know where it's going. That's the main thing. It keeps it fun. But yeah, I think because I'd never really, in work and even in my personal life, I'd never really been open and shared and been very like, just never really spoke that much, which is a bit of a weird way of saying it. Like, I talk to people, but I wasn't open. Like I wasn't really sharing me. It was a version of me that I wanted people to hear and people to see, especially, you know, the people close to me. You don't want to look bad and you don't want them to, you know, see you as less than you are, I guess. And so it feels like finally, oh, like I do have a voice that can be used. And, you know, there are people out there that aren't necessarily in a situation to do that and can't speak up for themselves in whatever area that may be. And I have the ability to do that. And I have, you know, I can afford a camera and a phone or whatever, and be able to put it out there and put it online and access to the internet, stuff like that. So why not do it? Like, it's like, if you have a message, if you've got something that can help someone, you know, then it's kind of your duty to do it. So it being like, stop making it about yourself, and, you know, that it's not about you. The whole world, not everything's about you. It's about everyone else. So just put it out there, and it pays off. It really does, when you just go, all right, let's go. Let's see what people think of this. So.
Yeah. You just reminded me of a quote that said, it was something to the effect of like, You'd stop caring about what the world thinks about you when you realize how little they do. Right? It's
Very
like,
true.
yeah, and you're right. It's really just getting outside of yourself and serving, right? It's like if you want to have an impact, you have to serve, right?
Yeah.
And it means getting outside of your head, you know.
Oh, which is not the easiest, but it's, you know, you have to find your ways to do it. It's so funny that you mentioned that quote. There's a Schitt's Creek episode where David is going for his driving test,
Okay.
and Alexa, I think, yeah, is next to him, and he's like really stressed about it. He's like, what if the instructor thinks this? And, you know, what if he thinks that? And she's like, David, he's going to spend like 30 minutes with you, then he's going to go home and never think about you again. Like, no one cares that much. Like, let it go. Like, why are you like, oh, but this, that, the other? Like, you've got him for 30 minutes to take your driving test, and then he's off. He's living his own life. Like, we get so like, you know, we put so much pressure on ourselves, like
Yeah.
to be something like, oh, but what if people think this and da, da, da. It's like, you know, even if they are watching your content, yeah, they're watching you, but they're not watching it for 24 hours a day. They have a life, they have their stuff going on. Make your impact, say what you've got to say, reach the right people, and then just let it be. Let it do it, let it do its jobs. Just let it go out into the world, and you know, let go of the control over it at that point. But it's worth watching. It's a fun little clip. I'm gonna have to find it now and post it.
So good. And it just into perspective, right? Like, oh my gosh, if we can just zoom out and really realize like so many things that we amplify in our minds are so insignificant, right? And everybody has their own worldview and perception, right? Like my perception of you, of me, of my life is only my perception, right? Every person has their own version of what reality means and looks like to them. And I think the quicker we can realize that, because we tend to often like project what that other people are thinking, what we're thinking,
Yeah.
it's almost never true.
No, never. Like the amount of times I've like in the past, like put on an outfit, whatever. I'm like, oh, they, you know, or it's for a date. I'm like, oh, they're gonna hate this, or they won't like that, or they'll think this of me. And I'm like, just like I have a saying that's like, just wear the white pants. I didn't wear white pants for a lot, or white jeans for a long, long time, because I was called a few names when I was younger, because I had a lot of muscle and muscular thighs from dancing. So I'd get called thunder thighs all the time, and it stuck with me like my entire life. I can't wear white jeans. My thighs are going to look humongous, and I'd have this whole thing. Everyone's going to think I've got like these huge legs, and I have like 3 pairs of white jeans in my closet now, because I'm like, and it's like, just wear the white jeans. The white jeans are going to make you happy. If you feel good in white jeans, and it doesn't have to be white jeans, you know what I mean? It's a, you know, just whatever your version of the white jeans are. We all have our thing. Like, just wear the white jeans. Who cares? Like, if it makes you feel good, do what you do. Don't worry about anyone else and what they think. But yeah, it's crazy how we let people's opinions and little things we hear over the years just impact our lives, and sometimes we don't even know it. We don't even realize it's happening, because it just, you know, it's a little thing at the back of your mind that until you really sit down and think about it, you're like, wait, what is the actual reason behind the feeling I'm having? Like, where's that come from? And it's like, well, that was like 20 years ago, because I just, you know, you just let it go. You think, oh, it's in the past, whatever. But yeah, it's been a lot of learning the past few years of like taking those moments and just taking the time to process, taking the time to just, yeah, feel good in my body, feel good in my mind, and be like, you know, not be so judgmental all the time of myself in every way.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. And Chloe, come on. Always wear the white jeans. You know why? Women are in the gym for hours a week trying to get thunder thighs, and you've got it.
I know, like, I still like, there's still that thought of like, oh, today, is it today? But no, it's I mean, and I think everyone should, it doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter how much if you work out every day or a couple times a week or whatever, just be, you know, be healthy, be happy. You know, I've been very hard on my body being a dancer. I was really tough on my body over the years, and now just being grateful that it gets me out of bed in the morning, and it can walk my dogs, and we can go work out, and we can still go on stage. And yeah, I think that's been the thing, is like, be grateful for what your body does for you every day. because I've had a few injuries in the past couple of years that I'm now still dealing with. And you go, gosh, remember how good I felt when I was like 25. And now I'm like dealing with some stuff. So it's just make the most of it while you've got it. Wear the white jeans. That's the takeaway of today.
I love it. I love it. Chloe, your voice matters and people need to hear that voice. You've got a message and you should share it with the world. If people want to follow you, get to know you, get to know your work, and learn more about your YouTube channel, where can they go?
I mean, my Instagram is a great place to go and then find everything else, which is at Chloe L. Crawford. And then that's my website too. Everything is Chloe L. Crawford. Or if you type in Chloe Magician, Chloe Magic, I'm the only one that I know of. So it's everything is there. I've got my YouTube channel. Podcast is coming out in hopefully next week if I can get all the edits done. And then, yeah, I'm always on Instagram. Try not to scroll too much.
There you have it, folks. If you want to know more about Chloe and her journey and learn from her experiences, I'll link all of her socials and her website in the description, and give her a follow. Chloe, thank you so much for today. I appreciate you and your insights and all the things that you've shared with us, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. It's a fun way to start the day to talk about all this stuff with you.
Totally, totally. All right, Chloe, take care.
Thank you. Bye.